Hello everyone, my name is Hanato. Today I'm going to present to you Rhetoric Arena. This is a game where you're going to be fighting with an opponent, debating with him, an artificial intelligence, for you to convince an audience of your idea, of your position. This game has a difficult barrier for you to stay in. It requires a lot of intellect for you to actually win the argument. It is possible, but it is very hard. And today we're going to be checking out the standard difficulty, which is already pretty difficult. These other ones are even harder. Yeah. And our motion for today is going to be philosophy should be taught in every school. I haven't planned much, so if my arguments are bad, just keep in mind I'm making up what comes along. And I kind of want to give you a baseline for you to understand that this game is, live. Your opponent is going to say something, you have no idea what to say, and you have to be extremely engaged for you to win. So let's begin. I'm going to enter the arena right now.
The motion before us, philosophy should be taught in every school. Opposing this motion, the AI debater will now deliver their opening argument.
Philosophy is not one thing. It is a precision tool that took Plato years to refine, and you want to hand it to an overworked teacher with 30 students and a state-mandated curriculum. The result won't be rigorous argument. It will be vague, critical thinking, exercises and feel-good discussions about the meaning of life. You are confusing an academic discipline with a therapy session for teenagers.
The discussion that we're having is based on rhetoric. Rhetoric, which is a field of philosophy. Philosophy is fundamental for you to teach the capacity of a child to attain truth. That is a human right. Every human has a right to do their cosmic purpose, which is to attain truth. Every child should be capable of attaining truth if they went through a philosophy course. And how that gets measured and expressed, well, it is a qualitative measurement that requires the teacher to look at objective criteria such as writing logic, coherence, and the strength of arguments, which is entirely possible if trained. Okay. Yeah, that was a weak argument. Maybe it was a weak.
You assume exposure equals capability. That is like saying every student who takes gym class becomes fit. Most do not. They sit in the corner. They copy homework. Philosophy courses produce students who can parrot, I think therefore I am, and nothing else. If you want truth-seeking taught, teach statistics. Teach formal logic as a standalone. Philosophy departments cannot even agree on what truth means. You are outsourcing education to a discipline that cannot define its own product.
If philosophy cannot agree on what the truth is, it means that truth is a complicated target to achieve. It does not mean, however, that we should not strive to do what is hard. Are we teaching children to be machines? Every student gets measured on the same ability of writing a reasonable argument that is logical and is based off provided premises. That is the fundamental ability that philosophy will teach. The ability to think.
You say philosophy teaches the ability to think. That is like saying a hammer teaches the ability to build. It is a tool, not a skill. A child thinking about whether free will exists is not thinking about whether their rent will be paid next year. You have given me a noun with no verb attached. If you want students to assess evidence, teach biology. If you want them to construct arguments, teach debate. Philosophy offers a menu of unsolved puzzles, not a method for solving anything. You are mistaking confusion for depth.
The subject that philosophy studies is not writing, it's not about debating, but it is the truth. Studying the specific components that we can rely on to be in accordance with truth. That is more important than anything we could be teaching. Biology is a small field in comparison to all the knowledge there is. Debate is a verb, but it has no subject.
You call biology a small field. That is revealing. Biology produces testable claims about the world. If I claim a vaccine works, biology can confirm or deny it. Philosophy cannot do that. It has no lab. It has no experiment. It has no way to rule out a bad argument except by appealing to other arguments. You want to teach students how to know truth, but you are offering them a discipline that can neither generate new truths nor verify existing ones. That is not a course. That is a book club.
My adversary is putting me in a false binary, as if the only possibilities for a child is for them to understand philosophy or biology. Both are complementary, and both should be taught to the child. The child should come out of school capable of handling any intellectual challenge he may face. And for that, we need to cover everything there is to cover. Philosophy is fundamental, so much so that whenever someone attains the highest level of achievement in academic settings, he gets a doctorate of philosophy, because philosophy is the primordial subject and it should definitely be included. Doesn't mean that biology shouldn't be included.
A PhD is called a doctorate of philosophy because medieval universities organized knowledge that way. They also thought the earth was the center of the universe. Tradition is not a reason to require something of every child. You still have not told me what gets cut to make room. School hours are finite. Adding philosophy means removing something else. You want to cover everything. You cannot. So choose. Do you drop algebra, or chemistry, or history, or the writing class that actually teaches students to structure an argument? Philosophy is not free. It has a price tag, and you have not named whose education you are willing to sacrifice to pay it.
What is the importance of understanding algebra or chemistry or history if you cannot attain any truth? You are operating as a robot. You are not thinking as a human. Therefore, we should make space for philosophy by cutting out that which is not immediately important. The educational system has a big emphasis on mathematics because that's what makes money. That could be a vector of choice for a cut to make way for philosophy.
You just volunteered to cut mathematics. That is your solution. You would replace a system that reliably produces engineers, pilots, and pharmacists with a class that cannot even agree on whether its own conclusions are true. A student who learns algebra can balance a budget, calculate a dose, and detect a misleading statistic. A student who learns philosophy can argue that numbers are a social construct. You are trading competence for decoration. That is not a reform. It is a downgrade.
Every civilization advancement didn't come from mathematicians. Mathematicians have served to advance technology. But when it comes to advancing the whole of society, the whole of civilization, philosophers have played a fundamental role. Mathematics uncovers the reality that is quantifiable, a small part of the full reality there is. A philosopher attacks the entire possibility space for attaining truth, which is more fundamental.
The debate has traced a clear fault line. The human argues that philosophy is the foundational pursuit of truth, essential for any child to think meaningfully, while the AI contends that philosophy lacks testable rigor and would displace proven subjects like mathematics. The human called for cutting math to make room, the AI called that a trait of competence for decoration. You have heard both cases, now the floor is yours to decide where truth-seeking truly belongs.
Ah, man. It's so hard to win at this game. Okay, yeah, lost another one. But anyways, it was a good debate, right? When the debate ends, I can just click here, full analysis, and I can get detailed analysis. For example, the rhetoric, the score of 6.0 is hard for you to achieve, right? This is some concrete steps for you to improve, which it gives you. And if you actually take concrete steps to improve, you actually will improve on the score, and you'll become a better debater for it. So yeah. So this is Rhetoric Arena. You can start always a new session here. And with this, I leave you. You can go to this website right now and try the game. It is very fun and very hard. So it takes some intellectual challenge for you to actually win. And if you like the game, please make sure to give a star on GitHub. And with that, I thank you for watching. Bye bye.